What's up guys, Readiness Rations here with you again, and we're going to be checking out another US military MRE today, but this is a very special MRE in that it is the oldest meal ready to eat that I have ever attempted to consume. This was sent to me by an awesome supporter of the Ration community, Salty Croc Collectibles, and he very conveniently put the date on the reverse for us, 1982. So that makes this MRE 40 years old this year, and yes, I intend to eat it. Before we take this over to the desk to check it out, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like seeing these military ration reviews on YouTube, especially old military rations, because that is my personal favorite, and subscribe to the channel to catch all my future ration reviews. I'm pretty hungry, so let's take this on over to the desk and crack it open. Meal ready to eat individual. Menu number 8, beef diced with gravy, packed by Right Away Foods in McAllen, Texas. Right away, we know this is an old MRE because it is in the dark brown bag. This bag color was used from 1981 through 1995. The bags were updated to the tan bag in 1996. Another indication that this brown bag MRE is particularly old is how the menu number is listed. We have the menu number 8 in small font here. That font was only used from 1981 through 1986. In 1987, they made the menu number quite large and put it out towards the side of the bag. The external bag for this particular ration is in outstanding condition. It is very shiny and glossy still, and that's always a good indication of the condition of the internal ration. This was packed before the days of the pillable seal. You were supposed to rip it open using this tear notch, but I don't want to destroy this bag, so I'm going to cut a little incision on it. I'm opening that today with my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Let's give that a whiff. Oh, the appetizing smell of plastic and chemicals. Let's see what's in here. The first thing here is something that I really didn't want to run across in this ration, and that is a 1.5 ounce package of cheese spread. 40-year-old cheese spread. It's a little bit delaminating looking. The top part feels very rubbery. The bottom part has a little bit of squish left. This will most certainly be absolutely disgusting, but you know I gotta try it. Next we have an old school brown accessory package. We'll be checking that out in just a moment. A tiny Mill Combat individual style spoon. There's our main. These early mains were only 5 ounces. They were increased to 8 ounces later on. That is beef diced with gravy. Production date was the 71st day of 1982. Oh boy. Packed by Lando Frost Incorporated. Let's pull this retort pouch out. These early retorts were glued into the box. Not quite sure why. And look at that. It's all wrinkly. Seems to be suffering from a little bit of delamination itself. It doesn't appear to be blown up or punctured in any way though. For our side dish, we have a beans with tomato sauce, also a 5 ounce package. And the ingredients list is surprisingly natural when compared to today's MREs. That retort pouch looks a good deal better than the one for the main did. It appears to be holding up pretty well, although it does have a weird textured surface to it that I haven't really seen before. Beef diced with gravy and beans with tomato sauce. That's what's for lunch. I was really hoping this would be a chocolate covered cookie, but alas, it is a brownies, chocolate covered, packed by Sterling Bakery. These almost never hold up. And the last thing in the pouch is something I've never had the opportunity to try, and that is salted MRE crackers. And there's a real good vacuum on those. You can see the texture of the salt underneath the packaging. Everyone always raves about these, and this is my first chance having the opportunity to try them, so I'm certainly hyped about that. Now let's take a look at that accessory package. In there we have a pack of toilet paper, that is the blue variety, a dark green pack of matches with red tips, a 4-gram package of cream, substitute dry, non-dairy, a package of iodized salt, pack of sugar, and a coffee instant, and lastly, a 2-pack of peppermint chewing gum. And that is what was in an MRE in 1982. These early MREs did not contain flameless ration heaters, so in order to heat up our entree and our side, I will be boiling them. While that's happening, let's get everything else plated up. I swear I can smell that cheese spread through the package. Maybe I'm just suffering from a little bit of PTSD from the last time I had old MRE cheese. I'm really not looking forward to that one, guys. First, we'll take a look at our coffee instant type 1. This is an extremely fine powder spray dried coffee. It actually smells pretty good. It's almost the consistency of powdered cinnamon. Super fine. And now let's take a look at the cream substitute dry non-dairy. This is one of those items that can go bad. However, this one is looking really good as far as the color of the powder. Let's go in for a little taste because we don't want to ruin our coffee with bad creamer. Tastes a little bit like cheese. However, I'm going to say that is completely fine and I am going to add it to my coffee. And of course, you don't have to worry about sugar. It never goes bad. Worst that can happen is it clumps. I'm going to add the full 6 grams because why not? And this coffee calls for 8 ounces of water as opposed to a modern MRE coffee, which only calls for 6. So I'm putting about 7 ounces in there. The creamer's a little bit clumpy, but it is dissolving surprisingly quick. Suppose we'll open up the other items. We'll check out this brownies chocolate covered first. Little tear notch on that. I didn't hear any vacuum. And look at that delamination going on. Looks like we have a little bit of oil seepage in the corners there. The chocolate looks really good though. It has sort of an old library book kind of smell. I don't expect that to be good, but we won't know until we taste it. Now let's look at these crackers. I've wanted to try these things forever. That was still under a nice vacuum. And look how beautiful those are. All in one complete piece. No cracks or fissures, no crumbles. They look nice and toasty. And you can see the salt on the exterior. Look at those holes, you can see straight through them. They look a lot more like a saltine than the more modern MRE crackers do. They feel just slightly oily on the outside, but they smell great. I'm expecting those to be absolutely perfect. I will be saving the cheese spread for last, just in case it ends up being a biohazard. Let's go ahead and test out this coffee. Okay, it's super hot, but that is really good stuff. Sweet and creamy, no bitterness whatsoever, none. It has a little bit of this acidic afterbite, but I find that really pleasant in this situation. It's amazing how smooth and easy to drink this is. That little bit of a cheesy flavor that I was explaining with the creamer did carry over to this, but it's not taking away from it. It gives it that sort of real cream feel, and I quite like that. That is really, really fantastic. One of the best cups of Ration coffee that I can recall having. I'm very impressed at how well that Coffee Instant Type 1 has held up and how awesome it tastes. I gave both our retorts a pretty vigorous boiling. Seeing as how I was -8 years old when this ration was packed, I'm taking extreme precaution in consuming this food. The pouch for the main is very wrinkly and is certainly delaminated a good deal. That was just made worse by boiling it. Well, that's my first time seeing beef diced with gravy. I just gave that a big whiff and it actually doesn't smell too bad. It smells a little bit like beef stew. Look at those beef chunks. That reminds me of Alpo just a little bit, in looks at least. Can't get over how small the portion size is. Let's get this beans and tomato sauce open also. This one is super hot. Those look fairly decent. It has this weird clove smell. I feel like if I would have been forced to eat these for real, I'd probably be mixing these two together to make sort of a beef stew. A beanie beef stew. Got basically everything out of that one. It doesn't look like a half-bad meal, especially considering that this thing is 4 decades old. Let's get it on this main and take a closer look at it. So there's our diced beef. Some of these look pretty dried out. Almost like they've jerkified over the years. I was thinking for a second that this was just a cubed beef roast, but as I'm cutting into them and getting a look at the inside, it does appear to be a completely processed beef product, sort of mechanically separated. I'm sure fillers and whatnot are added to it. They don't feel right. They don't have a squish. They're very hard. So even though they're suspended in all this sauce, the meat itself, it's just become sort of dry and mummified over the years. I don't see any discoloration though, and I can't really discern anything else that's in the gravy. Doesn't appear to be any visible spices or even pepper or anything. It seems very basic. Perhaps that's a little piece of onion there. I think that probably is. Maybe there's some onion in the gravy, but it's a pretty bare bones main. Let's go in for a very hesitant taste. I'm going to try out a little bit of the sauce and a little meat cube to start, not forgetting to use all my senses before going in and actually eating some of this. But it passes the look test, it passes the smell test. We'll see if it passes the taste test. The meat is supremely dry. I probably ate that just a little bit too fast. I'm going to go in again for just a little bit of gravy by itself. The gravy tastes fine. It's like a very lightly flavored sort of beef stew taste. Went for another piece of meat because the other one didn't affect me in any negative negative way. The meat is dry, but not really chewy, and that's because it's processed. I mean, it's already sort of broken down and re-chunked, so the teeth don't have to do that much work on it. It's not causing me any dry mouth, numbing sensation, burning, any of that, at least thus far. The meat is salty. To be 40 years old, I am pretty blown away. At this point, I don't see anything stopping me from finishing off this entire tray of diced beef and gravy. The sodium level is really high on this though. And now that I'm really getting in there and eating a lot of the meat, I'm feeling a little bit of numbness on the sides and underneath of my tongue. Get another sip of the coffee here. Yeah, I'm feeling that numbness a good deal. I don't think that's going to dissuade me from eating this as I intended though. I've experienced much worse. Now let's take a look at these beans. They're not bean mush. That's good. We can see they're all still very intact. Not quite sure what kind of beans these are, possibly pintos. And there's nothing really going on with it besides beans and tomato sauce, as the name would suggest. I'll get a decent sized spoonful to start on these. Down the hatch they go. The texture is fantastic. It is spiced with clove. It's very clove forward. It's tangy from the tomato sauce, ever so slightly sweet, maybe a little bit more sweet than ever so slightly. It's kind of sweet. This is also causing a little bit of a numb sensation on my tongue, but the flavors are good enough to where I think I'm going to continue eating it as well. Let's see how the beans are mixed with our beef and gravy, because as I alluded to before, that would probably be the way I would eat this in the field. The tanginess of the beans helps complement the meat a good bit. My mouth is producing a lot of saliva for some reason. That's a little bit worrisome. It's amazing that I'm able to eat this as well as I can, but I would definitely not recommend anyone else try this. I have a lot of experience eating this super old food, and it is a quite dangerous endeavor that could lead you to serious illness or possibly even death. These crackers break into perfect squares, which I really appreciate. First time having the salted cracker. Feels like that's some kind of ration eating rite of passage. Let's see if it's as good as all the hype. It's a little bit more dense than I thought it would be. I've heard these described in the past as being lighter, more like a civilian saltine cracker, but it does still have the denseness of an MRE cracker. When eating this, you want to bring it to your tongue, salt side down. That way you get that instant sodium sensation. Those taste great though. Fantastic even. Crunchy, nutty, toasty, nothing rancid, stale, or off whatsoever. Really a great MRE cracker. Wow, that is good stuff. Let's put a little bean on this one and a little bit of meat and gravy. And try that on a cracker, dude. That has no business being that good. It's older than I am. And here I am in 2022, sitting here, eating military food that was packaged in 1982. Absolutely mind-blowing. I legitimately am enjoying myself. That was so good. I'm going in for another. Everything together on the cracker is definitely the way to go. The crunch of the cracker is the perfect contrast for the mushy beans and the saucy beef. One more sip of coffee. And now we're down to the two items that are the most sketchy in regards to being consumable. Let's check out the brownie first. So the outside is a little bit slick and shiny. It has this waxy, oily feel. Crack that in half. It broke very easily. It looks good on the cross section, except for that black thing right there is a nut. And nuts should never be that color. You can see the little layer of chocolate before you get to the brownie insides. I think I will be avoiding that one nut there. So I'm gonna err towards this side for my bite, and we'll see how it's held up. That chocolate is super waxy. Oh man, instantly super numbing on both sides of my tongue and the hole underneath. The waxy chocolate has coated my entire mouth, including the roof. Feels like I bit into a candle. It's not burning or anything though. Let's get another bite of that corner. That flavor is pretty awful. It has this really off-putting, sort of rancidy flour kind of taste. Let's try just some chocolate by itself. The chocolate tastes super chemically. They add chemicals to the chocolate to heat stabilize it, and that stuff does not hold up good over time, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I think I've about had my fill of that one. Really awful. I'm not even detecting any sweetness anymore. It's just like oily, waxy, old newspaper flavor. Not good. And the last food item, my arch nemesis when it comes to military rations. Cheese spread, older than I am. God, oh no. Right away, the look is just so wrong. Look at this delamination. It's so horribly delaminated that there's like cheese grease that has come out of the inside wrapper and sort of embedded itself into the foil. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever seen one this bad. And the smell is really putrid. Oh no, I'm getting it all over my hands. Everything about this sucks. The part towards where I open the package is very dried out, flat, and a lot darker. As we get deep down into the package, where the mix is a little bit thicker, the color changes some. So let's just plop this all out on the tray so I can get a better look at it to assess whether or not this is worth going down my gullet. The smell is so bad, and it is literally getting everywhere. I'm gonna have to take a shower after this review. Like, I don't know what that sort of weird substance on the top is. It's a different color from everything else. That doesn't seem like something I should be eating. It does not smell like anything I should be eating either. It smells so bad. I'm over here fighting off gagging with this disgusting cheese. But, I mean, when will I ever get another opportunity to try some 40-year-old cheese spread? I feel obligated to at least give this stuff a taste. And so I've found a piece that I think might be worth giving a try. Whew, wish me luck. Let's see how that is. Oh no. It is almost impossible to describe how bad that is. And on top of that, it is burning my mouth severely, and not in a spicy way, in a I just drank like gasoline kind of way. Woo, I'm lost for words. It has literally taken my breath. That stuff is horrendous. It is vile. It is supremely disgusting and gross. And if you ever think about doing one of these old rations, save yourself the trauma and do not try that cheese spread. I'm fighting back, regurgitating my whole meal right here. That stuff is so bad. It's not a laughing matter. I'm feeling lightheaded. I don't even know. I don't know how to go on with the review. All right, maybe a piece of this peppermint gum will take my mind off the cheese. Dang, that's as hard as a rock. Tastes good though. I'm feeling a little bit more refreshed. The peppermint's definitely helping out. We'll strike a match. That still burns really good. Let's see if this cheese is flammable. It's melting a little bit, but not really catching flame. And that was a terrible idea, because that burnt cheese smells even worse than it did before. I think I'm about done. That was the review, guys. Menu number 8, beef diced with gravy from 1982. The oldest MRE I've ever eaten. And it actually turned out to be a really decent meal, minus the disgusting cheese. I'm going to savor these last 4 remaining crackers. And I do intend on finishing off the beans and the meat after I get over the whole cheese fiasco. I want to say another big, huge thank you to Salty Croc Collectibles for sending this over to me. This review wouldn't have been possible without you, buddy. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up to help it out with the Google algorithm, and to see all my future military ration reviews, both old and new and foreign and domestic, to subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought about the video down in the comments. And if you know someone else that might enjoy seeing this video, please share it, because that is literally the best way to help the channel grow. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.